Good evening. Welcome once again. Today we are going to um, be taking you through an extensive discussion on a detailed promotion questions and promotion areas that you need to focus much on it again to pass your promotion aptitude test. If this is your first time, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and subscribe. It is very important. Then more to the point, like this video. Then those who are going to write, share with them, share with them to also learn and go and pass. It is free. Nothing is charged from these tutorials. So we are going to be looking at some areas will help you a lot in passing your promotion aptitude test. So let's just dive into these important areas for our promotion aptitude tests. I say it again, subscribe and like the video. Liking the video is very important. Just click on the like button and like the video. Very, very important. So we are going to be um, diving into various areas that are very, very important for us. I've prepared a nice thing on my tablet for you this evening to share with you what you need to be preparing towards your promotion aptitude test. So we are going to be, let's just dive into it. Number one, we are looking at the mandate of Ghana Education Service. What is the mandate of Ghana Education Service? If you have not come across this, then I'm sharing with you. Um, it also comes in a promotion aptitude test. So when we talk about the mandate of Ghana Education Service or GES, GES has been mandated by the government of Ghana to be responsible for implementation of the national policies and programs relating to pre-tertiary education of um, of the country, and to ensure that all Ghanaian or school-going age, irrespective of their tribe, their gender, their political affiliations, their dispositions, their religious background, their affiliations to any bodies um, are given quality formal education and training throughout effective resource management to make delivery of education relevant to the manpower needs of the country. So the mandate of GES is to implement national policies and programs relating to the pre-tertiary education, and that is what you need to know. So when we talk about the the mandate, we are talking about the implementation of the approved policies and programs for our children in the pre-tertiary or the basic level. Let me say it that way. Then let's look at the vision of GS. What is the vision of GS? You need to know the vision of GS. It's very, very important. Most of the times, it comes in the AD2 and AD1 questions. You need to know the vision. When we are talking about the vision of GS, we are talking about the long-term plan of GS. That is what we need to know. So GS seeks to create an enabling environment um, in all educational institutions and management positions that facilitate effective and teaching and learning and efficiency of the attainment of the goals of the service. So when we are talking about the vision is that GS create an enabling environment for learners to learn and achieve whatever they are supposed to achieve in their lives. So creating an enabling, the moment you hear creating an enabling environment in all educational institutions and management positions that facilitate effective teaching and efficiency of attainment of the goals of the service, then we are talking about the long-term plan or the vision of the um, vision of GS. So the moment you hear creating an enable environment, we are talking about the vision of GS, and we need to be conversant with these areas before we go and write our promotion aptitude test. Then, what is the mission statement of Ghana Education Service? So the mission statement are talking about the short-term plans that GS put in place in achieving the vision or achieving the long-term plan. So to ensure that Ghanaian children of school-going age are provided with quality formal education and training throughout effective and efficient management of resources to make education delivery relevant to the manpower of the nation. That is the mission statement of Ghana Education Service. So when we are talking about the mission or the short-term targets that GS sets to achieve its vision or its long-term plan, then we are talking about the mission statement. And that one simply means ensuring that Ghanaian school children or the Ghanaian children of school going age are provided with formal education, quality formal education and training through effective and efficient management of resources at the basic level, the district level, the regional level, and the headquarters. There should be efficient management of resources to make sure that education delivery is relevant to the needs of the learners or the manpower of the country. That is what GS is responsible to do. So you need to also know this to help you pass the promotion exams. Then let's look at some of um, the function of the Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education, what it does. What it actually does is that it formulates government educational policies. That is one function of GS, formulating educational policies and programs for GS to implement or other implementing agency to implement. Then GS, sorry, the Ministry of Education also provide relevant education at all levels, um, with emphasis on science, ICT, and TVETs to all Ghanaian children, which will assist them to develop their potentials to be productive, enhance self-actualization, and peaceful coexistence. So it's very, very important that we get to know this before we go and write our promotion exams. It's very, very important. Then Ghana Education Service shall be responsible for the implementation of the approved policies and programs in the pre-tertiary institutions. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Now let's dive in the actual function of the Ministry of Education. The functions of the Ministry of Education is formulation of policies, as I said already, then allocation of resources. GS does not allocate resources. It is the Ministry of Education that allocates resources to the implementing agencies. Then have an oversight responsibility. The GS supervise all the implementing agencies that are under them. So that's the oversight responsibility. Then monitoring and evaluation. Evaluation, monitoring of the policies that are being formulated by GS to be implemented by the implementing agencies. Then do evaluation as well. The Ministry of Education does um, evaluation of the policies and programs that are being implemented by the agencies to see their effectiveness. Now let's look at what GS does. Subscribe, like to this tutorial. What GS does is the implementation of the approved policies and programs, then designing of the curriculum in collaboration with the NACA. They develop the curriculum for pre-tertiary education. Then GS also recruit personnel in the service, both teaching and non-teaching. Those in the offices, they are also part of the recruitment process. Then promotions are done by GS, lower ranks at the district level and the higher ranks, um, starting from principal superintendent to the highest level, by GS and GS council, especially GS council collaborate with GS to do promotion. Then discipline the personnel in the um, Ghana Education Service. Any misconduct, any mishaps in the system are being addressed by GS, so take note of it. Then ensuring examination and certification of pupils and students. So BEC candidates who go and write, and the West African, the WASI that is being written, it is GS that ensure that these examination and certificates are being prepared for learners for their furtherance of their education. Then provision of teaching and learning material by GS through the central government. Through the central government, GS provide relevant teaching and learning materials to learners. Then ensuring standard provision of physical infrastructure and equipment with um, the Ministry of Education. So GS makes sure that there is the provision of physical infrastructure and equipment. Classroom blocks are provided. Um, then teaching and learning materials, both physical, tables and chairs, and the rest are provided for the learners to learn very well. Then ensuring attendance of pupils and teachers. GS makes sure that there is um, learners attending school, teachers also attending. Regularity and punctuality is mined by GS, so take good note. Then encouraging community participation through the SMC and the Board of Governors. It is the work of GS to ensure that there's a community participation in education using the PTA, the SMC, and the Board of Government at the local level. So it's very, very important that communities partake in the education of their wards to help the learners to learn. Now let's look at the governance and management structure of GS. Governance and management structure of GS. So when we talk about the management organs or institutions in GS are put in place to run the day-to-day administration to ensure that government pre-tertiary educational policies and programs are implemented through effective and efficient utilization of resources. So um, how does GS being structured? So at the headquarters, the governing bodies at the headquarters is GS Council. Then when you come to the district level, that is, or the municipal level or the metropolitan level, that is the district education oversight committee or the municipal education oversight committee or the Metropolitan Education Oversight Committee. Then, when you come to the senior high school level, that is the Board of Governors. The Board of Governors have supervisory role of the activities that are done in the senior high. Then come to the basic, that is the School Management Committee, the SMC. The SMC also is in charge, is a governing body in charge of the basic school level. So it's very, very important that you get to know this before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. Now let's look at function of GS. What does GS Council? What does GS Council do? Can you write few answers or few functions of GS Council, Ghana Education Service Council? Can you write? One is to it serves as a link between Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education. So it becomes a liaison body that is between Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service. So it is very important body that you need to know. Then it ensures the implementation of the function of GS or the function of the service. The function of the service are being monitored and they have supervisory role on this. So GS Council makes sure that the implementation of the function of GS is done. So take note of them. Then submits to the minister recommendation for the pre-tertiary education educational policy and programs. So the GS Council working with GS makes recommendations about the policies that need to be formulated. So GS Council send the recommendations, what input they need, GS need to add to the policies that are being formulated. So GS Council send recommendations to the the Ministry of Education on the educational policies and programs. Then advise the minister on such matters as the minister may request. So the GS Council also advised the Ministry of Education on the request of some of the things that the Ministry of Education may be requesting. So they are very, very important that we get to know this before we go and write a promotion aptitude test. Now, let's look at um, some of, let's look at inclusive education. What is inclusive education? You have been sharing inclusive education. What is it about? So when we are talking about inclusive education, it involves putting children with disability and without disability in the same class to participate and learn together. So putting those without disability and those with disability in the same classroom and they participate in learning together in the same classroom. So in class one, you could see, or when you go to some of the public schools, you could see those with disabilities are learning with those without disability. That is what inclusive education so simply means. What are some of the benefits? So benefit of the inclusive education is that children develop positive understanding of themselves and others. So learners begin to understand how their colleagues are having challenges and facing those challenges, then they accommodate them and learn with them, help them in the same classroom. Then family vision on a typical life is realized. So that is another thing, that benefit that you get from inclusive education. Then children learn important education, academic skills. Children learn very important academic skills, both the um, both the disability and those without disabilities. Then children also learn on their own. Children learn to feel for others and have the opportunity to make friends with their other counterparts. Then the abled will help the challenge one, as I talk about those with physically challenged, those who are physically challenged will be held by the um, the normal students. Now let's look at something very important once again. Now we are going to look at what are some of the factors that affect teaching and learning um, abilities of children, or what are the challenges in teaching and learning, or factors that are affecting teaching and learning in our public schools. You could be asked a question on this, and you'll be found wanting. Class size is one of the factors. So if you have a very large class size, it's very hard on a teacher to be able to accommodate all the learners. Taking learners' needs into consideration becomes a very difficult aspect. So, and a very low class too may make learning boring sometimes in the classroom, and teachers become lazy in a way. Then teacher's salary is also one of the issues that is affecting teaching and learning. Because if the teachers are not paid well, they will be tempted to venture into other businesses that may that they may not have attention to teaching and learning, and it may affect teaching and learning. Then we also have the teacher experience. Most of the experienced teachers in the system, when they are handling learners, they know how to handle learners very well as compared to the inexperienced ones. So you need to take note. The knowledge of teachers, the knowledge of the teachers, the knowledge of the content, and the knowledge of the pedagogy is also another problem that is facing. So most of the teachers, when they are delivering in the classroom and you're passing by and you hear the kind of um, instructions that they are giving to their children, or the teaching that they are giving, you begin to wonder that how did they manage to get to training college, and how did they manage to pass the courses at the training college and comes out as a teacher. It becomes something else. They don't have the pedagogical knowledge, at the same time the content knowledge is always the problem. Even most of the time when they have the content knowledge, the delivering is always a problem, and that is a challenge. Then textbooks is also a challenge. The instructional time is also a challenge. Misuse of instructional time is also one of the challenge facing um, teaching and learning material. Then the two main factors that account for differences in learning abilities of children are: one, the environment. If the environment is very conducive, learners learn and learn better. Then heredity, what they are born with, the knowledge, the skills that they are born with, the intellectual that they are born with. If their intellectual level is very low, it affects learning in the classroom. So two things that affect learners learning are: one, the environment; two, heredity. Very important. Now let's continue to um, have more of um, on this topic. The characteristics that determine a profession, or the features that determine your profession. One is going through a long period of education and training. For you to be qualified as a professional, you have to go through a long period of education and training at your institution, or any college, or any tertiary institution. Then committed to rendering service. If you're committed to rendering service, this is another feature of a profession. Then concern more with providing dedicated service rather than the monetary of the financial consideration. So if you are someone who considered who considered money more than the service, then you are not entitled to be in that profession. Go and do business and leave the service that you are rendering. Then practice of a profession is guided by ethics, is guided by rules, guided by regulations. So every profession has its code of its ethical codes that guide the profession. And GS is also having a professional ethics that guides GS that you need to know for your promotion sake. Then lances before being permitted to practice. So that is why we have the National Teaching Council or the NTC in place. You need to be lances. You need to be given um, accreditation, or you need to be given permission before you can teach in Ghana Education Service. So every profession, their professionals are being lances to permit them to practice. Then regulated by a professional body. It is being regulated by every profession has a regulatory body that regulates the ethics, the codes for for the professionals in that service. That is why we have um, National Teaching Council. That is the regulatory body that regulates the conduct and act of teaching. Now let's continue to um, to add more. Now, teaching as a profession because of the following reason. Teaching is a profession because of the following reasons. What are some of the reasons? One, guided by ethics. Two, teachers are committed to rendering the teaching service. Then teachers are more committed in providing service rather than monetary. But it is not true. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are into the service because they had no place to go and they just entered the service with the mentality of having another chance to go out and do business somewhere. So, not all of them are having the intention of being committed of providing service. You could see that some of them are not rendering service at all. Then the last one told our teachers are issued with lances. There are issues with lances and registered numbers. Previously, it was registered numbers before the lances um, certification also came in by NTC. So you need to get to know this before you go and write your promotion exams. Thank you. God bless you. We shall meet another time. And don't forget to subscribe and like these tutorials and share with your friends. And we shall meet another time. Have a good night. Bye bye.